Menace. The sheer mention of this title drives thousands of fanboys all around the world in debate. Some fans like it,
while others hate it.
Why do so many people hate this fucking movie? Is it because of Jar Binks?
Is it because of the damn midi-chlorians?
Is it because of the overuse of CGI?
Or is it just because this movie makes no fucking sense?
There are many reasons why people don't like this movie, but people fail to understand that this is the origin story that sets up the original trilogy. This is how the Republic falls.
I, on the other hand, completely hated The Phantom Menace. All the mystery, all the wonder, and all the essence that Star Wars first established in 1977 was replaced in this film by political agenda and racist stereotypes. So let's explore this Razzie-nominated picture and explore why I completely hate it, and Stormsink, for whatever reason, likes it. So the traditional Star Wars crawl opens up. Oh hey, look, taxations, trade federations, trade routes, taxations on trade routes. My god, it's like watching Fox News. I already said this in a previous review for The Phantom Menace, but I really want to hear an explanation for it. How did we go from rebellion, self-discovery, and the magic of the Force to Trade Federation espionage? I really want to know. It's a pretty big fucking leap if you think about it. It would be like putting Glenn Beck on Spike TV. It just doesn't work.
Like I said before, the whole point of Episode 1 is to set up the origin story on how the Empire rises and how the Republic falls. In the original trilogy, the Republic is already over with, and it's the rebellion that's trying to go against the Empire and reestablish the Republic. But in this movie, we find out where everything went wrong, how Emperor Palpatine rises, and how Republic falls. That is the whole point of this movie, and people fail to understand that. After the crawl, we meet up with two Jedi Knights, Qui-Gon Jinn played by Liam Neeson, and a young Obi-Wan Kenobi played by Ewan McGregor. This is where the first major complaint comes into the prequels. In the original film, it was said that Obi-Wan was trained by Yoda. In fact, it was said in both Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Yet here we see that Obi-Wan is actually the Padawan of Qui-Gon Jinn, not Yoda.
Yeah, there are books which state that Yoda trained Obi-Wan as a youngling, but the same books also state that to be too old to receive the Jedi training, you have to be 13. Something this movie completely ignores, but we'll get to that later in the film.
George Lucas does give an explanation later on, saying that Obi-Wan was trained by Yoda as a child and later became Qui-Gon's Padawan. Although this is a good explanation, many fans are still fucking pissed that Yoda isn't Obi-Wan's original instructor as we were originally told in the original trilogy.
Yeah, well, fans are gonna be pissed, because we're only hinted at this fact in the movies. Never once does Obi-Wan state that Yoda trained him in this film. The only thing that we get to hint at this fact was this.
But Master Yoda said I should be mindful of the future.
But not at the expense of the moment. Be mindful of the living force, young Padawan.
Yeah, that's it! That doesn't necessarily mean that Yoda trained him. For all we know, Yoda could have told him this one night when they were in a fucking Starbucks. The only way people are gonna know that Yoda trained Obi-Wan as a youngling is if they've read the books.
Anyway, apparently Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon was sent in by the Chancellor of the Republic to negotiate with the Viceroy of the Trade Federation on the blockade of Naboo.
Yeah, note to self, if you're on an enemy starship that seems to be up to no good, for the love of God, put up your fucking shields immediately! This is not rocket science! So the Jedi are attacked, but manage to fight their way through the ship, where they discover that the Trade Federation is sending an invasion army of droids to Naboo. Am I the only one that can taste the bile? So the Jedi sneak aboard separate ships and meet down on the planet, where they confront my biggest issue in this movie, Jar Binks. Misa Jar Binks! You know what? Misa don't fucking care. Get the fuck out of my movie. Anyway, this blatant stereotype of a Louisiana slave tells them that they can go to his hidden underwater city for help. Yeah, it's nice to know that Jedi can use the Force to stop water pressure from crushing them like tin cans. So they make it to the city where Boss Nass, the leader of the Gungans, tells them that they can use a bongo to aid the Queen. But they, for some reason, hate the Naboo and refuse to help. Why?
Risa don't like the Naboo. The Naboo think they so smarty. They think their brains so big.
You hate the Naboo because they're smart? Are you just jealous because they can actually speak proper English? So as Boss Nass is about to punish Jar Jar for returning to the city after being banished, Qui-Gon saves him and brings him along. Why?
We need a navigator to get us through the planet's core. This Gungan may be of help.
What? He can't navigate, he's not even literate! You'll end up in Cleveland! Cleveland, I tell you! Cleveland!
I can really understand why so many people hate Jar Jar, but personally, he is not as bad as everybody makes him out to be. George Lucas made Jar Jar to be the comic relief in this movie, okay? In the original trilogy, we had R2-D2 and C-3PO that had the comic relief. In this movie, R2-D2 and C-3PO does not have a big role. It's just the origin story of how these things came together. So George Lucas put Jar Jar in that spot. He is just comic relief. Another complaint I hear about a lot is the fact that the Jedi seem to show no emotion. And on this one, I kind of have to agree. The Jedi in this era were trained to be aware of their surroundings and stay calm in tough situations. However, they should still at least show some facial expression. Do you see that? Nothing. Not even so much as a blink. I mean, I don't expect them to bounce around and screaming like a bunch of pussies like Jar Jar or anything, but damn, they act like there wasn't even nothing there. In fact, if it wasn't for Jar Jar's reaction, you would never even thought they were in trouble in the first place.
Well, not a good play at all. I mean, you got your sea monster, bam! Then you got your Gungan and your Jedi, bam! Not a good reaction at all, my friends. They are acting like lifeless Barbie dolls. While this guy is just freaking out. Just no emotion displayed here, Stormsink. I believe that if a giant monster were staring me in the face, I would certainly shit my pants. These two Jedi are pulling the old Statues of Liberty play. Just staring and not reacting to shit. But this Gungan screams are really gonna annoy us later in the game. They will really come into play. Brett Favre.
Goddamn, Stormsink, the Jedi aren't supposed to be scared of a fucking fish, okay? They're Jedi. They probably knew the shit was gonna happen. They can see into the future, dumbass. God, I mean, what the fuck's wrong with you? After several deadly encounters with the sea monsters in the planet core, our heroes finally make it to the surface of Naboo. Meanwhile, we see the Viceroy of the Trade Federation imprison the people of Naboo as well as Queen Amidala, and try to persuade her to sign a treaty that make the whole invasion on Naboo legal. The funny thing is, we still don't know why the Trade Federation invaded Naboo, nor do we even know why the Trade Federation blockaded the planet in the first place. I do have my own theory and explanation, but I'm going to save that to the end of the review.
Yeah, I guess George Lucas was too busy setting up racist stereotypes and boring dialogue to come up with a coherent plot. But what are you gonna do? So we see the Queen get saved by Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon as they head to the hangar bay.
They wouldn't dare.
They need her to sign a treaty to make this invasion of theirs legal. They can't afford to kill her.
There is something else behind all this, Your Highness. There's no logic in the Federation's move here. My feelings tell me they will destroy you.
Wow, even George Lucas acknowledges that there's no point to the bad guys he created invading the planet in the first place. That's actually quite sad. So after a brief fight in the hangar bay, they manage to board a ship and escape the planet, where they are greeted in space by a blockade that damages its shield generator. After losing several droids, one of them manages to fix it by himself. Can you guess who it is? Wow, you're a dumbass.
R2-D2, Your Highness.
Yes, it's R2-D2, who I must say was found in the most convenient and improbable way possible. But we'll let it go for now, as there is far more stupidity ahead of us.